How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the CRT channel. As you can see, I have a big block, well, what's left of a big block 727 right here that is out of, I believe, a 70 Charger for a Mopar guy here locally. And I did this transmission a while ago. He was coming back from a meet or something happened to it. I'm not exactly. I tried calling him and asking him again what the deal was. I couldn't get hold of him. What's the build date on it? There is no build date. I got the CRT stamped into it, but not the date. So evidently I probably got a phone call and got sidetracked. So anyways, he was driving home from a car show and he was experiencing some problems, so he thought he would just rip it out and bring it over here. And Chris, who owns this, has got a real nice little shop over there, a few Mopars and a hoist and a tranny jack, and I think what happened is this thing fell off the jack. It's a I believe it's a 70. It's a Charger RT, numbers matching. Right down here on this Boss, they, I think starting in 69, they put the last 8 of the VIN down here on this Boss. Pre-69, this Boss is not here on the case. This right here. So, I mean, it's a 440 car, not a Hemi car, but still, it was numbers matching, and he was asking if there's a way where we could save the case. But it's too far damaged. The integrity of the transmission case would never be the same, even if you had an awesome welder and an awesome person to do the welding. I think it's just too far gone. So I'm going to take the transmission apart, see what's going on with it, see what failed on the inside, and then of course I've already got another case prepped. He brought me over a case. I hot tanked it, I cleaned it, I prepped. It's painted. So I'm going to tear this baby apart. We're going to look inside and see just what failed on this. .40 tooth. Well, fluid's nice and clean. It's red, but I see a lot of metallic in it. Oh yeah. Something failed big time. There's a lot of aluminum in there. It looks like aluminum. I don't know if it's a Sprague, the Planetary, or what let loose, but you could also see it here on the filter. Sure looks like aluminum to me. So we'll get it torn down and at least see what the failure was. I know Chris is the guy who doesn't abuse his vehicles. He's usually, from what I see, because he just lives right behind the shop, he's somewhat respectful of his cars. Not like us drag racers are constantly pounding on it. Wow, the rooster comb E-clip wasn't connected. The rooster comb came right off the valve body. So I wonder if something happened to the E-clip here, which is right here. Here's a spring in the ball for the rooster comb. I don't know how that got out of there. A little better. This here is my official Jaybo Bad Tree Productions pump puller. Let's see what failed. It's gonna be something. Oh, I just broke the vent. Dumbass. It's gonna be something in the case or in the Planetary. That went bye-bye. Front Planetary looks okay. Stripped out splines. Sunshell and gear okay. For a Planetary. Aha. Coming across parts that don't fit. going to be that rear support and that lower reverse drum. This low reverse drum is not spinning one way like it should. Lock one way against the sprag and then freewheel the other way. The band adjustment seems not off, so let's get this out and see if we can take it apart. I'm sure this is where all the damage is. I need my, what do I do with my J-Bolt pump puller? Walk away with it. Alright, well, the rear support came right out. And it's in good shape. So he must have had a sprag failure. And you know when sprags fail, you take out the case. So I know he was going to feel bad about him dropping this transmission off the transmission jack and breaking the case. If the case is foobarred anyways because of the sprag. And the sprag just came completely out with the low reverse drum. And it is cooked. That sprag rolled. The sprag rolled and it took out the case anyways. So even if Chris didn't drop this case from the transmission jack, which I know he felt really bad about, the case is garbage anyways. Hi, Blondie.
No.
Are you here to give me a message?
Well, there's someone on the phone.
You want to know?
No, a customer.
All right. You see me doing videos?
Yeah.
Can you take a name and number? Huh?
I'll get a message.
Thank you. So, now the lingering question is, how did the sprag fail? How did the sprag break? Usually, sprags fail when, well, for one, they can only fail in first gear because they're freewheeling. Well, when they're operating correctly, they freewheel the in second and third. But this thing was chewed up, but it can only fail in first. So I'm gonna talk to Chris, and I know he, you know, he doesn't abuse his vehicles, but they can only brake one way. They're not going to brake by driving like a grandma. I'm not saying that anything that he did, I mean, you know, this is the factory sprag. It's not a Bolton sprag. I am sure I put in new spring and rollers when I did the transmission. And let me see if I got the build date, the hidden build date. I have the hidden build date on there, but not dated. So what I did is I put the CRT on there. I have one on the inside and one on the outside. Do you see the CRT? but I didn't put the date on it, which is no big deal because I'm sure I did it. It was pretty recently, and I see it's got a billet servo on it. But you know, it's nothing, you know, super big build. It's just a stock street car. But usually Spragues just don't fail on their own unless it's a, you know, failure of a part. And now it's you know, so far gone. That's going to be hard to determine. So I'll talk to them and say, hey, you know, you didn't have no breakage in the rear end or drop a drive shaft, and then later on, you know, I know he didn't drop a drive shaft. He don't drive that car that way. So it's not a race car. It's bone. I'm pretty sure it's bone stock, down to the exhaust manifolds and everything. So, and he's also got a Superbird, which is kind of neat seeing him going around town. He's got a yellow Superbird that he picked up, I think, a couple years ago. I did the transmission in that too, and it was a barn find, and it's unrestored. So if it gets scratched or dinged or you know, gets a rock chip on it, it's not the end of the world. Matter of fact, he doesn't even have the headlight mechanisms in it. He's just got like LED lights sticking out of it. Looks horrendous, but you know. So anyways, this will be the first half of this video. We found the failure. I don't know if Chris is going to feel any better about dropping the case when the case internally was broken. I don't know if that's going to make him feel any better or not, but I got another case prepped all ready to go. So what I'm going to do is this is all going to be cleaned. I got to take everything all apart, go fire up the cooker, put all the parts in the cooker, take all the bands and clutches and put them off to on the side, inspect it. But I have to go through the whole transmission. I have to go through the whole valve body. The torque converter has to be sent out and get cleaned. There's just too much metal. It's everywhere. And then he's also going to have to do a very thorough job of flushing the cooler. So I'll go ahead and get this going, and we'll come back. And when we come back, I'm sure I will talk to Chris by then and find out anything that he might be able to shed some light on. If not, we're going to put it together. Even a bolt and sprag would not have saved this, because it's never the pressed in part that fails. It's always the spring and rollers that fail. And you can put 100 bolts in this thing, and it's not going to change. There's only 12 spring and rollers. You know, sometimes bolt and sprags are maybe a little overrated for what they do. I mean, I'm not, you know, you still have to have them, and it does save it. But the thinking is the bolt and sprag is going to save the case. But what happens is when all that stuff, you know, all the rollers wad up inside between the outer cam and the inner race, it just jars everything. And the first thing it do, that's why I took that big whole chunk out of the case. It just goes boom, and then it's over with. So, like I said, you can put 100 bolts in there. That's not going to strengthen the spring and rollers, not one bit. So, now this is an automatic shift. And when you leave the selector in D, and you take off in first gear, there is no low band apply. But if you put the shifter in low 1, then there is low band apply. So I'm going to ask him about that too. I don't know, see what happens. But this is going to the cooker. I'm going to clean everything up. When I come back, we'll do the assembly on it. we're going to remove the stock Sprague race, stock Sprague cam, and install a Bolton Sprague. Just to give it some rigidity. Just to give it some rigidity. Customer, I talked to Chris, he's like, yeah, let's put a Bolton Sprague in it. Even though he drives it quite easy. And all the big block cases, well, not big block, but on all the cases, regardless if I use the stock Sprague or if I put a Bolton Sprague in it, or if I use one of my Killer Drag Spragues, I don't know if the sun's going to punk us out, but I drill a little feed hole. This is the rear cooling line. Let me get out of my sun. The rear cooling line comes in here, and the oil travels through the case and it goes to the output shaft. Well, if you drill a little hole right here, I do about a 1/16. That will lube the
Today, Junior.
the Sprague race when it's spinning on the case. Get a film of oil. And I'll get the camera real close. If you see the floor of this passage goes flat and then it rises up right there. There's that little rise and that this is flat and there's a little ramp. What I do is I take my drill bit. I don't even measure it, not after all this time. So I take the drill bit, and as soon as I go up that ramp, and that's where I drill it, right there. If you want a measurement how far in that is from this outside circumference to where to drill the hole, if you don't like my little floor trick, it's about 350 thousandths. This way, when you go through the case, you can see where the Sprague race rides in here, and it'll lube that race. When putting a Bolton Sprague in, I always like to take a layer of trans gel and put a thin layer of trans gel all the way around where the Sprague goes, and on the side of the case. And then this way, when you tighten it down, for one, everything has got some pre-lube on it for that initial startup. And then once you tighten the Sprague, it kind of squishes out a little bit and lets you know that it's in there all the way. You're going to get the supplied bolts and washers. And I usually like to use either trans gel or anti-seize on the bolts, and then I'll put them in the case. The bolts are going to help you line up the Sprague, and then you're going to use the bolts to tighten up the Sprague and do it evenly. Because these are fine thread, I've noticed that sometimes the threads can get hot. Not as slow as I'm going to do it. And then they seize up on there. I've had that happen to me. Have that happen to customers. You're not going to use your ferrules just yet. So we're just going to put the ferrules off to the side. Then you're going to take your sprag and hold it in like this, and then line up the holes after you get the right size socket. I never ever use an impact to do this. It takes longer to do it this way. When you use an impact to draw it up, you're almost guaranteed you're going to heat up that bolt, and it's going to seize on you. So take your time, do it with a ratchet. And then you won't have no problems. So once you get it started, you just want to make sure you're watching that the sprag is level as you draw it up. You don't want to cock it. You have a hard time going together on that. No kiss goodbye. She don't like being on camera. Bye, Blondie. You are? Thanks for the warning. Why are you hiding? Camera's off.
Okay, is it?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Would I lie to you?
Yeah, no,
What are you looking at?
the camera.
You look like you're scared.
Because I can't do it.
Are you gonna give me a kiss goodbye?
Yeah.
Do you love me?
Yeah.
You fucking better. That's not the camera. This is the camera.
Oh.
I should be somewhat on time. I think I might stick around for a little bit because there's no phones. It's nice and peaceful here, and I'm digging it.
Do we have anything else there? What? Is it all just a water? Yeah, it's water.
At least you're good at something. Good for nothing. You know what I was told once when I was a kid? You guys are gonna like this. I gotta get the right socket. I'm doing it with the torques. Is this it right here? Yes, it is. I think I was about... I think I was about 15 years old when I was going to the old man's shop. It was only like 3 blocks away from my high school. So I would leave school and walk over to Transmatic Transmissions, and I would either disassemble or scrape cases or clean or R&R transmissions. Well, anyways, Dad had this piece of shit drive-on rack, and doing, I think I was doing a GM, like a 350 or 400, and I remember pre-73 and earlier, or is it 74 and earlier, those cars didn't have no catalytic converters. Man, you could rip out those transmissions like in 20 minutes. It was really easy. And I was struggling with something. I don't know if it was a catalytic converter car or what was going on. And I was having a hard time, and it wasn't going my way, and I was frustrated, and but my dad was letting me struggle, because that's That's the old school way of tough love, you know? And he's like, just keep on doing it. I mean, it was easy, like, oh, Dad, come over and help me with this bolt, or I can't get this converter bolt out, or whatever. It's real easy to go to the old man or whoever, someone who's qualified, but he would let me struggle on it until I got it. But when I did get it, there was some self-satisfaction there, knowing I got it. Oh, like a glove. So anyways, I was 15. Man, I was having a hard time. You know, who knows, maybe I was having girl trouble too, I don't know. But anyways, I was told by a close family member, and it wasn't my dad, when I was having this hard time, I was told in this exact tone, why don't you just quit? Your brother's going to be the mechanic of the family. Well, those were not the encouraging words I would ever say to any of my children, but it was said to me. And it just made me try even harder. I remember I had a hard time in school. I wasn't the smartest kid in school, and I was told a couple times to quit school, which I never did. I graduated on time in the 4-year gig that you're supposed to, and until my son graduated, I was the only Cope boy in my family tree that had a diploma. My dad didn't graduate high school. Neither did my dumbass brother, who was supposed to be the mechanic of the family, ended up being the crackhead of the family. So, don't let people discourage you. A lot of people that watch this channel, or other automotive channels, are really the do-it-yourselfers. I've been fortunate enough to get paid to do what I love to do. And if you're good at something, never do it for free. Alright, the sprag's in. I gotta put the string of rollers in now. Well, the sprag's drawn all the way in. You could, once you're done with that, tighten up the set screw. I'm not sure how much that really does now, but I always leave them in there. We redirect the camera so you can watch me put the spring rollers in. No phones allowed at CRT. Except for me. Come on. Alright, that'll have to do it. No phones, no chuck balls. Oh, we're out of chuck balls. How about those cubbies? Alright, so what I do, I put the race in there first. I already got the lube in there, and then I put in the rollers first. Spring of Rhoda. So we got an election coming up, huh? I hope everybody does the right thing, Yeah, I'm voting for Trump. I don't give a shit if you're mad. I want gas to get back down to $2. Alright, so there's really not a right way or wrong way to put your springs in, but I always put the groove side towards the roller and the flat side towards that tower. And I just stretch them just a little wee bit, and just go around and put it in. Put the springs in. And then what I do is I get a screwdriver and I bend each one of these tabs so that tab is in the middle. Maybe I'll focus in a little closer. So the tab is in the middle of the spring. If you look at that one, and they're always offset a little bit. And I just like to push that in the middle of the spring. See how the spring is kind of like, it looks like it wants to pop out of there. It can't, but that's just how I do it. Oh, chop balls. I know, I bust Griner's balls. Man, when Ronnie used to work here, we would laugh our asses off when Griner would come. And you know what was really funny? Steve Griner was the inventor, the man, the guy who invented the trans brake. I don't know if he was working by himself or if he was with Hipster at that time, but I remember talking to him a couple times about the trans brake. I think it was on a Turbo 400, and he was the first guy. He also was the one who invented the lock-up torque converter. He invented a lock-up converter and put it in a stock eliminator car or something, and they were mile an hour and better than other cars. Now this story's coming from him, so you got to take it for what it's worth. I'm not saying it's not true, but this is what he told me. I wasn't there when I went down. NHRA got upset about him having that torque converter in a race car because he was winning, which usually sounds like a Chevy guy crying to a Mopar guy. But supposedly this was a Chevelle, I thought maybe he said. So Chrysler Corporation gets wind that he has this. Now remember, this story is what Steve Griner told me. Chrysler Corporation. I need a better screwdriver. Gets wind that they got this lock-up torque converter. This pick ain't working. And that they wanted Steve Griner to go to the Chrysler Corporation and work for them and develop them. Supposedly, according to Steve, I don't want to cause no rumors or nothing, that he was offered a very large sum of money. Like, I guess millions, I don't know. And for Chrysler, that's nothing. And Steve turned him down. He turned him down, but he must have talked to him enough to get the logistics of how it kind of might work, because Steve was a gabber that way. And 2 years later, Chrysler had they were the first ones that had a lock-up torque converter before GM and Ford. It was for fuel mileage, CAFE standards, you know. So he missed out on that. Who knew Steve personally, he was probably a better engineer than he was a businessman. He would pull up with the valve bodies in this piece of shit, rusted out Datsun pickup truck with the bed flapping in the wind. I'm like, there he goes. There's the guy rolling down the road in that fucking turd. The guy invented the fucking trans brake and the lock-up torque converter. Flat fucking broke. Wasted talent. I don't know. He was a great guy. You know, I'm not trying to, you know, rip on him. He was a smart man when it comes to doing stuff, and it's just, he could have had so much more. All right, Bolton Sprague is in, and we'll continue on. It's Saturday, and I'm back on this 727 that had the busted case and the busted Sprague. It seems like it's been taking me forever to get this transmission built, but I've been kind of a little bit light on some help. I've been working by myself for the last couple of weeks. I got a new guy starting Monday, so I'm kind of excited about that. And but anyways, I'm gonna get back on this trainee, and I'm gonna finish it today. So it's one less thing I have to do next week. So where I left off, the case is done. What I didn't tape was I went through the valve body, which was loaded with metal. I did the 2 drums. I did the pump. I went through the planetaries. I cleaned everything out of the governor, polished the valves in the governor, made sure that was free. So now it's just got to put the transmission case together, the tail housing, and do the final assembly. Alright, well, we'll continue on. I had to switch my memory cards. I don't know why it was acting retarded. So I'm going to finish loading this case. We got a lot of good reviews on the video of the SFI case, which you can see over there in the background, right there. Monday, my friend Bo, who's very good, he's an engine builder. He's very good at measuring. A lot better at it than I am. So he's going to come over Monday, and we're going to have 2 sample cases, or 2 transmission 727s, and we're going to measure the bores of everything, and maybe check a couple distances and make sure that everything is proportionally correct, which I'm sure that they did that where they were at. However, I have to double check that. Alright, rear servo's in. Rear servo's in. Front servo's in. Accumulator with blocker rod is going in now. The front lever's in. we'll put the linkage, the rear lever in. For the low reverse, and then the case will be loaded. I already put a new O-ring on the pin. I always put some silicone on there because these do tend to weep a little bit. Then the adjuster nut and screw. And the check ball. Oh, we're out of check balls. I'm gonna wear that one out, ain't I? It is pretty funny though. Alrighty. We have one loaded transmission case. When I mean loaded, not all the parts, but everything that goes into the case. Sprag, servos, accumulator, levers. It's got a new leakage seal. Then we'll go ahead and put the output shaft in. The governors are free and cleaned. Tail housing gasket. The tail housing, I had to use another one because this one got pretty damaged. If anything needs to be remade, it's those tail housings. Because man, they're getting thin in the skin. The tail housings. I actually don't sell any. I don't sell any anymore. Just because they're hard to get. The tail housings should be remade. I don't know if IF plans on doing it or not. I have a meeting with them, so we'll have to see. I'm going to bring it up in the meeting if they want to make it. I'm already maxed out kind of what I make for being a small business. Probably going to shoot a coat of paint on this once I get it done so the two match. I need one more tail housing bolt. There we go. gasket that goes on that little clip cover. Little gasket that goes here. I'm not going to get too overly technical on this. It's really not a how-to video. It's just I guess show you how we do things here. There's no longer a we, it's just me. Alrighty, there's that. Now we can start putting parts in. Before we do, I have the speedometer, the cooling line case fittings. Someone put a bunch of goop on there. There's the front one. My neutral switch. It is not a 40 tooth. I thought it was a 40 tooth because of the color. It isn't. It is a 32 to 38. So I lined it up on the dot there, and now you can see it spinning. And then put your bolt bracket on. Sorry I got the snuffles. I've had it ever since I got the COVID. I had the COVID for the first time last year at Thanksgiving, and ever since it's had sniffles from it that have never gone away. Thank you, Barack Obama. Why do I thank Barack Obama? Because when he was in office, he was the one who funded that Wuhan lab in China. That money came from him and Fauci. So you got those two idiots to thank for that. All right, I won't get political. I'm not. I'm just saying how it is. Alrighty, so now we're going to assemble. We're going to put all the parts in the case. The planetaries, the bands, the drums, and the pump. Hope I'm not boring you. I'm looking for the band strut. The lower verse band strut. So I haven't done the indie show in a long time. I stopped doing the indie show, geez, I don't even know when. I used to do all the shows, and then the last few shows I did just weren't all that great or whatever. And this was when, I'm trying to think. Madison was born in '05, so this had to have been '08. I don't know. '08, '09, when things were tanking and things were thin. This is when I was still at the old shop. And it just wasn't worth it to go. Not only that, I hate traveling, believe it or not. So for 2005, no, 2025, the Indy show, the Indy Silverhead show in Indianapolis, Indiana, tentatively now looks like we're going. And when I say we, I mean Jeff at Two Hacks and John Wilburn are gonna go, and they're gonna set up my booth. Both of them are really good at talking to people. I'm a bit of a loner, I guess. I used to be really good at it. I mean, I have literally probably hundreds and hundreds of friends, customers that go to that show. And so anywho, I'm gonna have I was talking about it with John Wilburn. If you don't know John, he is the promoter of the No Name Nationals. In Sikeston, Missouri. This is a really cool race. It is not a very, compared to some events that you may have gone to, some Mopar events, it's not huge. It's more of a small, personal, family, where just about everybody knows everybody kind of a race. And I tell you what, I made a lot of friends there. Now, I didn't go this year because I had just too much going on at the shop. I was going to take my Power Wagon, and then the Power Wagon got it routed off cam, and one of the cam lobes. So maybe I should move the camera over here. What was I saying? I made a lot of friends at the No Name Nationals, a lot of great people. It's more of a big, huge get together for content creators, people that do YouTube channels, and you are now watching the CRT YouTube channel. So there's other folks out there with automotive channels that participate, and the theme of the race is meet the stars of the YouTube content creators. Well, I ain't no star, but it's a great place. Met a great event at a great place. Nice track. 8th mile, which is weird for me to race because I've been a quarter-mile guy my whole life. I still don't know, like, if you run such and such a time in the 8th. I have to look it up and figure out what it says on the chart. Convert it to quarter mile so I can comprehend what the ET is. Just not used to that at all. anchor. Here's my anchor. So anywho, back to what I was saying. I'm getting ahead of myself here. John Wilburn and Jeff are gonna be at the show, and I'm gonna set them up with everything, display, and that case, that SFI case will be there, along with along with my valve bodies. Ever since, just to tell you how long it's been since I did a show, I've had the trans brakes out for, I don't know, what, 10 years now maybe? The billet trans brakes. I've never taken one to a show. I never had one on the table and showed people. And so unless you actually physically bought one from me, or looked at the pictures online, you really got no idea how nice of a piece that is unless you put it in your car. So I'll have the billet valve bodies there. Also, the billet planetaries that I make, I'll be there. And there's so much that I've done that I've come out with since I stopped doing shows. I mean, people who are online see it, you know. But if you're not online, and believe it or not, some of the old timers are not online. There's a lot of things there that that can be seen. The servos. Well, I've had the servos then. The drag sprag is something new. Here, you wanna any part of that case? The drag sprags are new. The planetaries. What else? I can't think. I'm trying to concentrate on this transmission that's taken me 2 whole weeks to complete. I mean, being here by myself is actually very enjoyable. I really like being here. Like today, it's Saturday. There's no one here. I don't have to stop what I'm doing and show or help or to answer the phone. I can actually just work. And that's all I really just want to do, is just work. The other parts of the business, I mean, I like helping customers, but not when I'm trying to get a transmission done. You know, I like talking to the people, especially if I can help them. I haven't heard back from Nicholas yet, though, with that 58 Fury. I don't know if you guys seen the live I did with him. He kept on popping Bellevue springs, and he couldn't figure out why, I couldn't figure out why. And after we had multiple discussions on the phone, I come to the conclusion that the only logical cause that could be causing his Bellevue spring issues was somehow or another the pressures are too high. Well, he's only had his own shift kit in a TF-2 and stock valve body. It's usually a problem when you go to reverse manuals and trans brakes. And here this guy had an automatic shift and he's popping Bellevue springs. So luckily, when we did a live where he was like a live and a live stream at the same time, you can go back and see that video. You can go back and see that video, and it ended up being there was a valve on the boost circuit that was left out. And I'm like, well, I've never left that out before, so I don't know if that'll cause it, but it's not right. So maybe with that valve being gone out of the boost circuit, it was in boost circuit all the time. That's what I was thinking. So I'm sure he's going to get a hold of me soon and let me know how it's going. I already did the valve body. Man, it took forever to clean all the schmuck out of there. There was metal in it everywhere. So I went through it, polished all the valves already. Whoop. And put a little lube on that seal. So hopefully Nicholas will get back to me. And when he does, I'll let you guys know. If you've made it this far in the video, I will make another short video or a short let you know how Nicholas's car turned out. I'm kind of hoping that he gets me some video of the car going down the road. It's a super nice 59 Plymouth that's been in his family. He got the car from his grandfather. Right then and there makes it even cooler than normal. Clean this pan out a little bit better. Well, all I got left in the pan is this oil pan, and she's done. Everybody who subscribes to the channel and comes and watches my videos and laughs at my stupid jokes, I appreciate you. I hope that you got something out of this, if it be entertainment value or just some technical. I mean, this would be a good valve body on it. Installing bolt and sprag. I kind of went into some detail on that. Well, my battery died. I'm not sure where this is at. So I'm going to end this video. I want to say thank you for checking in. I hope you maybe learned something out of this. If not, it was some entertainment value for you. You see what goes on behind the scenes, I guess, here at CRT. So for that, I'm going to say thank you for watching, and we will definitely see all you guys in the next one.